Hey everybody, this is Rykard here again, and welcome to another narrated Wi-Fi battle for Pokemon Black and White 2. Today's battle is another NU match against an opponent by the name of CrisJ96, and it turned out to be a pretty cool battle. I wanted to use a variety of different Pokemon that I haven't really used before. That seems to be a theme, but I always just kind of want to use more things, I guess. That's my deal. But I am using a Dunsparce with agility on it because I thought that would be kind of cool to have agility plus flinch hacks, so that kind of made sense in my mind. I'm using a Garbodor, set up spikes, Lairon to also set up rocks and roar things in case of a bad lead. I got Basculin on there to deal some heavy water damage. I got a specially defensive Chimecho, and I also have a Specs Altaria to basically clean up if I need to, because Specs Draco Meteors in NU are really good, especially because there are very, very, very few Steel types. But with that, let's just jump right into it right now. So I decided to lead off with my Lairon, as my opponent led off with his Vigoroth. Now me, knowing that Vigoroths can often pack Brick Break or Earthquake, I decided to switch out right away to avoid taking a 4x super effective move and go into my Chimecho to either resist the Brick Break or be immune to the Earthquake because of Levitate ability. But here he just goes for Bulk Up on the first turn, and I'm like, well crap, this is bad. So I gotta just set up Toxic right away. It went for Frustration, it did a ton of damage at +1, but at least I have a Toxic on it, so hopefully within the next couple turns I can wear him down. Now me knowing he's going to want to obviously go for the Frustration again, I switch out into my Lairon to 4x resist it. And at this point I'm like, I have to stay in. I know he might have a move, but I have to check if he has it. I could probably live it, and luckily for me I don't take terrible damage from the Brick Break because I'm able to live it, because Lairon with a Violet is super defensive, and I just set up my Stealth Rocks on that turn, which I feel like were going to be very useful later. But me now expecting him to go for Brick Break again, I switch out into my Garbodor, but he goes for Bulk Up instead, so I'm like, okay, well now he's going to go for Frustration, so I'm going to switch right back out into my Lairon, and he does just that. It does still very minimal damage, now being at +2, but now I know at this range of health, if I stay in, he's going to die, regardless of what happens, and I was okay with that because he was boosting, so I didn't care. I stayed in and went for Earthquake. I didn't want to miss Head Smash, so I just went for that easy damage. And then me seeing that he wants to actually stay in, I'm like, okay, well, I might as well just switch back out into Garbodor now because he's going to go for the Brick Break. But luckily for me, he actually switches out into his Meganium, which turns out to be an equally good switch for me. Obviously, me being a Poison type, I can resist Meganium's most powerful moves unless it obviously goes for Earthquake, but that's not too common. But I just take this opportunity to set up a layer of spikes, not really being afraid of anything that Meganium could do. However, he does just go right out for the Aromatherapy to, I guess, get rid of the Toxic on his Vigoroth, but because I already got one layer of spikes up, he's actually going to die upon entry, which is great for me as I get out my second layer of spikes. Now here he goes out into his Ampharos, and me not really worried too much about what it can do. I know it can hit pretty hard, but I didn't want it setting up a sub, and you might be wondering why I have Seed Bomb on this. It's against, it's to use against Golem and stuff like that, because this could be a potential lead. But he just goes into his Ampharos. I go for Seed Bomb, maybe predicting Substitute or something, because those are pretty common. But he just Volt Switches out, and it does a huge amount of damage, but he goes out into his Regice. I'm kind of thinking it's a Specs Ampharos at this point. But his Regice normally would, I guess, match up pretty good. I do have the Rock Blast, though, like in case of leads like Ninjask, because I can obviously break through subs and hit it really hard with that. But unfortunately for me, I missed my first one, and then on the second one that actually does hit, I only get a 2-hitter, so I got possibly the worst luck. I guess the only thing worse would have been if I missed twice, but he unfortunately is able to take me out with an Ice Beam there, but I did my job. I set up spikes, so it's no big deal. But here, I go into my Lairon. I know I'm going to be faster than Regice because I EV myself to be that way, and luckily for me though, he goes for Ice Beam. He might not have had Thunderbolt, but either way, I missed my first Head Smash, which absolutely sucks. But then I finally hit the second one, and then I kick it out, which is really good. But I've been having some pretty bad luck with hitting rock moves this entire battle so far, I guess. But me not really wanting him to bulk up or sub or anything, just because he's already shown me that he has setup-y guys on his team, I just stay in. He goes for Aqua Jet, but that's not big of a deal. And then he goes for it again here, which I think might have been like a Mystic or something, or he might have just been locked into it, or thought that I couldn't do anything. But me firing off Waterfalls of my own, they're adaptability boosted. I also have the Mystic Water on it because it does hide your item, and you also get the boost for water moves, which I guess the Choice Band would kind of do. So you can switch up moves while also having the really powerful water moves that you would want. I thought it was a good idea. But anyways, I just go for a second Waterfall as he switches out into his Meganium, and now me knowing that this is a pretty bad matchup, I have to switch out right away. I go into my Altaria here, maybe predicting Toxic or something, but I do have the super effective Fire Blast on this Altaria, which is Specs, so I'm assuming that I would be able to do a huge chunk of damage to Meganium, even though they are very defensive, but I figured I would just go for it right there and see what happened. But unfortunately for me, he just goes out into his Ampharos, so he dies there. Actually, I guess that was a good thing. It's not unfortunate. Unfortunate because I didn't get to kill the Meganium. But then he switches out into his Floatzel again, and because of the entry hazard damage, it just dies upon entry. But here Muck comes in, and me knowing that Muck is very specially defensive normally, I can't stay in locked on Fire Blast because he could probably just set up and kill me. So I switch out into my Chimecho, maybe expecting him to go for Curse or something like that, and I could hit him with a Psychic, but either way, he just kills me off with a Gunk Shot. And here I bring in my Dunsparce, and I'm like, well, I'm faster than everything else on his team, I think, so I can just start going for Headbutts. Now I do have the Metronome item on this, so every time I Headbutt, it does a little bit more damage. But here, unfortunately, I was very surprised by the fact that Meganium actually outsped me here. I wasn't expecting that, but I see that it does, and he unfortunately gets a crit on this Giga Drain, which takes off a huge amount of damage from me and also heals a ton of damage back to him. But me being like, alright, well I might as well just show off this Dunsparce just to kind of, you know, show this guy like, hey, I know what I'm doing. So I go for the agility here, and now I am faster than this Meganium, obviously, and I'm just going to kind of hope that I get all the hacks in the world to kill this thing. But unfortunately, I only get one more flinch, and then on the following turn, after I headbutt him, he does actually take me out again with a Giga Drain. But luckily for me, I still do have my Specs Altaria waiting in the back, and I do obviously have the Fire Blast, as I said before, so that is going to be enough to clean out this Meganium and give me the victory in the match, which is great. So yeah, that was a pretty fun one. It was pretty quick, but it was very action-packed in my opinion, and I kind of just wanted to show off Dunsparce a bit, because this Pokemon's awesome, and agility is really cool. I think of it as an alternative to paralyzing everything. You can just make yourself faster than everything, and then do what you normally do there. And with the Metronome item, you obviously do increase damage if you just lock yourself on one move over the course of times, and I figured, well, I'm only going to really want to be using Headbutt unless I have to use something else like Bite, so I might as well just put that on there and see what happens. I might do a video on this Dunsparce, as well as another one that I think is a really great lead Dunsparce in a coming video, so stay tuned for that. But otherwise, thank you CrisJ for the match. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I thank you a lot for taking the time out to battle me. But that's it for this video, everyone, so as always, take care, goodbye, and I will see you all next time.